In order to get her husband to murder her, the woman collects the urine of her neighbor's pregnant woman, falsifies her medical records that she is pregnant, and secretly creates an economic crisis. Then when her husband isn't looking, she gets him to sign the papers that increase his insurance coverage. And when it's the day of her 5th wedding anniversary, she puts on her gloves and sets up the scene of the murder, leaving just enough to make people suspicious. Then, after enduring the pain of bleeding herself out, enough to give her 10 times more than she would have with a menstrual period, Amy spills the drained blood into the cupboards, and finally pours all the remaining blood on the floor, grinding it around like Spider-Man, and having to create palm prints of someone forcibly dragging her away from the house. Just when you think it's over, Amy starts cleaning up the crime scene, but can't quite clean it up. She gets an iron bar, dips it in blood and puts it in the fireplace, lights it on fire to fake the destruction of the murder weapon. And finally, Amy burns the journal she's been writing in for a long time, but can't completely burn it, leaving clues so that the police will be able to find it, as the journal contains important information. After doing this, Amy drove the used car she bought from the dark web and started the game of evaporation. A few hours later, her husband, Nick, had just returned home and found broken furniture. Looking at the scene with signs of a fight, he immediately called the police, and Detective Bonnie soon found bloodstains from the cupboards and found that Amy is not only a Bachelor of Arts from Harvard, but also a psychology lecturer at Yale University. More surprising to Detective Bonnie, it turns out that Amy is the writer she has long admired. And then Nick was brought back to the police station by the police, and his blood and fingerprints were exchanged. And the next step would be to track Amy's cell phone and credit card. Bonnie started to question Nick. Nick said that they'd just moved back from New York for more than a year, and Amy didn't have any friends here, which surprised Bonnie. And what made her feel most speechless was that Nick, who had been married for many years, didn't even know Amy's blood type. And since Amy had a certain degree of popularity, the police decided to hold a press conference. Faced with many reporters, Nick briefly talked about the situation and stood to the side in a hasty manner. But during the photo shoot, he leaned on Amy's picture and laughed